Hi, it's Tom here from FDS, and today's Pro Shop is about magazine maintenance. I've chosen a clear mag because obviously they're quite nice to look at and you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to run you very quickly through what you need to keep your magazines feeding reliably and to keep them clean and tidy. Obviously magazines pick up dirt and dust in their moving components, and there are several faces which can cause problems with loading, and the darts actually run in these faces here, particularly on this front face here where the tip runs. You'll often find smearing and marks and sticky, dirty deposits forming in that area from your dart tips, especially where they've been landing on the floor a lot. So if you're a magazine grubber and you pick up dirty darts all the time, then this guide is hopefully going to help you out. You will need a rod and eye. If you look here, I've just put a little curtain rod. There's a little tiny little brass picture hanging thing on the end there, just an eyelet. You will need some strips of cloth. In this case, this is just some old sock because I had some lying around, and the elasticity of old socks is useful for feeding through the eyelets. It's also useful to have a brush or dowel, just in case you need to depress the magazine follower. And anything wooden about 1/4 of an inch is useful. I just happen to have this old brush lying around because it's an old dry brush of mine. And then you will need a cleaner and a solvent. So solvent, you can use white spirit for this job. It's a very good thing to use for this. This is just a generic white spirit. As you can see, I've used it for painting. You can also use a dry silicone spray like this one. This is a 3-in-1 brand. Other brands are available and they're relatively easy to get. You want a dry silicone lubricant, you don't want a silicone grease. You don't want to leave lots of silicone in your magazines, and I'll show you how to avoid that later on. If you put too much silicone in your magazines, all you're going to do is make your darts slippery, and in flywheels that's really bad. So first things first, cleaning. I'm going to use white spirits. I've got to say thank you very much to Mike at BS UK, aka Nerf Armourer, for this tip. And I'm going to put some white spirit into the cap because I don't want the dirty white spirit going back into my paint supply. And I need a little bit, so I'll just pour some out. The other thing that's worth keeping on hand is just a bit of old rag or cloth, or in this case kitchen towel, just to wipe off excess cleaning material from the rag, a bit like a pull-through type system. You can see that this is shedding a little bit of lint, which you don't really want. It's just where I cut through the elastic, and you want to wrap that round the end to make a little pad. So wrap it in 2 directions, just a sort of basic granny knot. You can tie something fancier if that's your bag. Then dip your rag into a little bit of white spirit. Now you don't want it dripping in white spirit, so you want to just damp that off a little bit, and then you're going to feed it into the magazine. Now using this clear magazine, so you should be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with the dirtiest face, which is down the front of the follower. And you can see that that is able to run up and down in there quite nicely. You can see also that the follower is sticking from time to time. It's because I'm pushing it unevenly with my rod. If it does stick, that's actually quite useful because you can clean the face a bit more thoroughly. So there you go. And I've just run that through. Now you're not going to be able to see because that's dark material how dirty that's got, so I'll take that rag off and then I can put a clean rag on. If I put another piece on, so again load up again with a dry piece just to then rub through and clean off any excess. Now white spirit's good because it's plastic safe and it is slightly oily, but it won't harm anything else inside the blaster. You want to avoid anything that might degrade your seals or get in the way or melt anything. So we can go put that follower back in. This is where your depressing item may come in handy. If you want to depress the follower now, using your brush or your dowel or whatever you've got. So there you go, I can depress the follower and then I can run my cleaning stick back in and I can clean the area thoroughly. You want to do this both sides, get it real nice and clean and tidy in there. Just try and run underneath my own hand now. It's always worth doing this about once every couple of games, once a month if you play on a weekly basis, or if your venue's really dirty, it's worth doing it every week. So that's cleaned, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of silicone spray in there. This stuff you don't want to spray near anything you're ever going to paint. So it's very bad for silicone contamination, so don't spray near painted blasters, and don't spray it all over anything that you don't want it to get it on. Don't spray it into the magazine. Some people do, but I don't. I just put a little bit like that, just a light coat onto the cloth, and then you're just going to run that again. You don't want to get too much onto the follower and on the middle areas of the magazine. you want to put a little bit, but not much. Just a light, thin layer. And all lubricants work better in a film, and that's what they're designed to do. So you're aiming to just have a nice, thin film. Rebalance the follow-up. Go in again. It's just a quick push. Like that. Both faces. There we go. And then that stuff, the beauty of that silicone spray is that it'll just dry out, and then that'll give us a really nice, smooth, well-feeding magazine. If we watch, we should be able to see the follower zip up and down now. It's all clean. Ready? So you can see that that's a really nice free-moving follower. And that is how you clean your magazines. And if you do that regularly, you should have more reliable feeding. And with the advent of people building flamethrower rapid strikes that can put out 14 DPS thanks to Rhino OS and their new motors, and some of the other high-speed 130s, these will help keep up. So don't be shy and clean your magazine.